Hi, I'm Jeff Poole. We're in Appleton, Wisconsin, but we are not at the Appleton Tech Center. We are at a local collision repair center, and we're going to take a look at this pickup truck behind me and look at the rear axle damage. And as we assess the rear axle damage, we're going to do something that's known as the 2.3 position test that'll help identify if the housing is damaged. And we'll talk more about that whenever we do the test. So we've had an impact to the tire and the wheel, and it appears that the vehicle was in motion whenever it either caught a curb or something. We don't know what the full details are there, but that impact took and drove that axle back. It actually snapped the leaf spring up here, and it also bent the leaf spring in the back here. But a pretty tremendous impact. We're pretty confident that the axle flange itself is bent, the axle's bent. We're not sure about the housing though, and since we're going to do the 2.3 position check to help us understand potential issues with the housing. In preparation for the 2.3 position check, we had to remove the drive shaft. Because of the axle being out of place, the yoke was actually pulled out of the transfer case quite a bit, and that was going to keep us from being able to rotate the tires evenly and together. So we're ready to begin the 2.3 position test. All I need to do is put a dot, a mark on the tire on each side. Doesn't matter where it's at on the tire, just somewhere on the tread. So you've got a common reference that we'll be using as we use the tram bar to measure between the dots. To begin the 2.3 position check, TJ is going to assist me with the tram bar, and we're going to bring the pointers in and we're going to align them with the dots on the tires. We're starting at the rear position where the dot here and the dot on that tire are pointing directly back, basically what we're going to call the 270 degree position if you were to look at it on a clock, or the 9 o'clock position on a clock. And we're going to measure between there and we get our reading. Whatever the reading is, we'll take note of it. And then TJ is going to take and he's going to use the pinion to take and rotate, because this is a limited slip differential. He's going to rotate those dots until they're basically pointing straight down at the floor. And then we're going to take and remeasure, and I'm going to take and win here and get mine lined up on the center of my dots. And he's probably seeing a little bit of deviation there, and he'll adjust the measuring bar and then take note of the actual measurement. So we've got the documentation and we're seeing a deviation. And then TJ will take and use the pinion again to rotate the dots to the full forward position. Of course, that was the 6 o'clock position pointing towards the floor. We're going to go to the 3 o'clock position. Dots are pointing forward now. I'm going to line mine up with the center, and then TJ will note any difference there and make an adjustment to the tram bar, and we'll document the damage. The nice thing about this test is that if there's an axle shaft that is bent and it has flan damage, if the hub wheel assembly, anything like that is damaged, it doesn't matter. Because you're rotating that dot around, the relationship of that cancels out the axle shaft damage. So this really just tells us about the housing itself, and we're seeing deviations that indicate the housing is bent. If the readings were not bad, if the readings were all good and all the same, that would tell us dimensionally the housing is good, but that doesn't mean that there might not still be damage to the housing where the bearing goes in there and the shaft goes in. That could be the end of that axle shaft flange is bent and we're not seeing it. This really gives us an indicator of if this dimension and this dimension are the same, the toe relationship should be good within the axle housing. If these two are good and the bottom one's off, that tells us a camber issue exists. If all three are wrong, bad, then you've got an issue with camber and toe in the housing. All right, TJ, thanks for the assistance with the 2.3 position check. Hopefully you'll find some value in this video. We appreciate your joining us and hope to see you again real soon.